This video I'm going to show you how to enhance boss gear from try to TET using a popular method. I'm going to show you the process and we're going to explore what kind of costs are involved. Hi, welcome to this video. My name's Blackout. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because subscribing means that you will stay up to date with all the latest news, tips and tricks for Black Desert Online on the PS4 and the Xbox One. So, to cron or not to cron, that is the question. So when it comes to enhancing to TET, there are two views on the subject. One view is that you should cron and be safe regardless of the cost. The other view is it's much cheaper to not use crons and let your gear downgrade. Now I'm going to upgrade my gear without using crons for the TET attempt. So moving from Pri to Duo is cheap and particularly risk-free. Duo to Tri is low cost and pretty easy. From try to TET, it's a little harder and more expensive. Right, so what do we need? You're going to need a whole bunch of cronstones, some Valk's Cry, some fail stacks, some concentrated magical blackstones, memory fragments, and an ult of some description. So to begin with, let's start with the fail stacks. You're going to need to build a fail stack of 60 fail stacks. Now, you may be wondering how to actually achieve this. The best way to get this is to use an advice of Valk's plus 50, and this can be obtained from the first Valencia questline. Now, if you've already done that questline, and if you've used your advice of Valk's on something else, then that's fine. What you can do is you can actually rerun that Valencia questline on every single character that you have. It will take a few hours, but it's pretty easy to run through the questline from start to finish. Once you've done it once, it will actually skip various parts of the quest and just mark them as complete, so it makes it a lot quicker than the first time that you did it. Another tip is that if your alt character is the same class as your main character, you can simply switch all your gear from your main character over to your alt, and it makes the whole process so much easier to get through. Makes killing things simpler, quicker, faster. You'll get the questline done much quicker if you do this. So once you've completed that questline, you will have a plus 50 advice of Valk's and a bunch of other advices ranging from plus 10 to plus 40. So what you want to do is you want to keep the plus 50 on your main character and just stick the rest of them in storage. So switch over to your main character and use the plus 50 advice. Then what you need to do is you need to add an extra plus 10 to it from Valk's Cry. Now, you may have some Valk's Cry already just sat there in storage wherever that you've obtained from like quests and login rewards and so on and so forth. But let's just assume that you don't have any, and we'll look at the most realistic and reliable way of getting your Valk's Cry without having them from quests and so on. So the most realistic and reliable way of getting these is extracting them from costumes. Now, costumes are the fancy clothings that people wear, which I'm sure you're aware of. If you don't, then just look around you. If someone looks different, that's a costume. So anyway, yeah, so the costumes, they can be bought directly from the Pearl Shop or the Central Market. Now, the cost for you want to go for the premium outfits because they yield the biggest amount of cronstones. So you're looking at 3,400 pearls if you wanted to purchase this with real money. Otherwise, 79.5 million silver is what the cost is from the Central Market, but you are reliant on somebody else buying these and listing them on the Central Market, so that they're essentially buying silver. So you will have to wait for them to actually fulfill the order. But I haven't had any great difficulty in pre-ordering a costume, and within a reasonable time, say, I think the most time that I've waited for a costume pre-order to come in is about a day. So just bear that in mind when you're planning. What you're going to do is that you can do this, but it may take some time. Anyway, My main aim is to obtain 3 to 4 costumes. And you can only pre-order 1 costume at a time, so it does take a little bit of time. So I prepare this well in advance of my enhancement session. I buy 3 or 4 because in my experience, it's taken on average 3 costumes worth to actually upgrade from try to TET. That just seems to be the sweet spot with the upgrades. I've got a bit of a tinfoil hat theory that it doesn't matter about the percentages, the chances of upgrade. I think that it's hard-coded into the game that your enhancement will only succeed if you've used about 3 or 4 costumes worth of cronstones in order to do it. So, I mean, that's my theory. I don't know. I've got no evidence. It's just a tinfoil hat theory. Anyway, once you have the costumes, what you need to do is you need to be extracting the resources from them. So you can extract Valk's Cry and cronstones from these. Now, what I typically do is I will only extract the minimum that I need at any one time, just to make sure I'm not wasting the expensive costumes on resources that I may not need. In particular, the Valk's Cry. I only try and keep it as close to 10 at a time whenever I need to. So initially I will extract 20, as you will see in the video, and I'll explain why this is. And then I will extract as close to 10 at a time that I possibly can each time I need them. This can result in a little bit of faffing around and backing and forthing and switching characters and so on and so forth, but I mean, that's just the way I do it. You can do it a different way. If you just want to extract everything first, then by all means, there's no real harm to it. Worst case scenario is that you extract too many cronstones, you need more Valks, or you extract too many Valks, you need more cronstones. That's the risk, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So the way you extract them, go to the blacksmith, extract costume. It's self-explanatory. It's not difficult to do. You'll figure it out. So once you have your 10 Valk's Cry, then what you need to do is you need to add these 10 to the 50 fail stack that you already have, which will give you a plus 60. Next step is to hop into the enhancement window. So add your boss gear and your concentrated magical blackstones, and you should have a 14% chance to upgrade this. So that's 1 in 7. So imagine a 7-sided dice. You roll that dice, you get a 7. That's the upgrade. Okay. Now, at this stage, you do not want to use cronstones. Make sure you don't do that, because that would use 127 cronstones. The theory is that you don't use these because of the value of those. Now hit that enhance button, and if you pop at this point, congratulations, you don't need to watch the rest of the video. You've succeeded. But, as you've got more chance of failure than success, then expect that this will actually fail. Now once it does fail, the item will downgrade to duo. Now please do not cry or rage at this point, it really doesn't matter. This is what we are expecting to happen. Now, take the item that has just downgraded, and just stick that into your storage, and stick your concentrated magical blackstones into storage as well. Just stick it all in there. And you're going to need your Advice of Valk's, your Valk's Cry and your cronstones in there as well. So it might be best just putting the costume parts directly into storage. However, you do whichever way you want. The items have to transfer between characters, so do it whichever way works for you. So now at this point you need to switch to your alt, and you should have a plus 30 Advice of Valk's. Use this on your alt character, and this will give you plus 30 fail stacks. Add another plus 10 from your Valk's Cry. Now, some people may say this is a waste at this point, but this is the way that I do it. This is what I'm comfortable with. It does raise the question, if people are saying I'm wrong at this point, then let me ask you why you're watching a video on how to enhance if you already know how to enhance. So Just saying. Anyway, grab your boss gear and your concentrated magical blackstones, and this time we're going to enhance using cronstones, because this only uses 34 cronstones. Now you have a greater than 1 in 3 chance enhancing like this, so this is why that I have this amount of fail stacks for this particular enhancement. It gives you that high chance of success, essentially. I want to minimize the risk as much as possible, and if that means spending a little bit extra to do that, then in my eyes that's probably worth it. Now hit that enhance button using crons and keep doing that until it hits try. With a 1 in 3 chance, I think that's reasonable. You could easily enough get it on the first shot. There's a good chance that you would. Well, 1 in 3 chance. So realistically, on average, the maximum it's going to take is 3. Now, when it's try, put all your gear back into storage and switch to your main character again. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to repeat this same process until we either hit TET or we run out of durability. If you run out of durability, then you need to use your memory fragments to repair. You can use artisans if you want to get 4 times the value of each memory fragment, but either way you need to get that gear repaired, otherwise your enhancement stops at this point. Now each time you fail a TET attempt, it makes it slightly easier the next time you do it, because each time you fail it raises your fail stacks by 5. So by the time I managed to enhance, I had an 18% chance with 80 fail stacks. So looking at the costing of this, now a costume costs 79.5 million silver, and you get 219 cronstones, which makes a cronstone have the cost of roughly 363,000 silver. This means that a TET attempt using cronstones is going to cost you 46.1 million per attempt, plus the 10 million durability if you fail. Okay? So that brings that cost for a failed TET attempt using cronstones to 56.1 million. So when you enhance not using cronstones the way I've just described now, if you assume that it takes 3 attempts to get to try, that's kind of like on average the worst case scenario, it's going to cost you 37 million in actual cronstone costs, plus 30 million durability. So this is based on a TET attempt failure. So that's the cost of attempting 3 times, which would lose you 20 durability, plus the one success, which would bring you back to TET, and then the TET attempt, which then fails, would cost you another 10 million in restoring that durability. So that gives you a total of 67 million in costs there. But then RNGesus may favour you, and it could go from duo to try on the first attempt, which would mean that the cost of that would be 12.3 million, and if it failed the TET attempt, that would make that particular TET attempt 22.3 million. So there are other costs you could probably factor into this, such as the cost of concentrated blackstones and time and what you could have earned and blah blah blah. I mean, I'm not going to go into it in that great a level, but there is a difference there in the range of what the possible costs could be. One scenario, it's actually more expensive to enhance this way. One scenario, it's cheaper to enhance this way. So it all depends on your luck. And maybe I'll look into the actual costing of this in another video in a lot more detail. Right now, I cannot get my head around all the variables I would need to take into consideration. May need to run some computer simulations just to give me a good idea as to what is a realistic cost. Anyway, I digress. So there are some pros and cons essentially to enhancing like this. The disadvantage to this is that it is volatile and it could potentially cost you more on a per TET enhancement. The advantage is that it could actually end up being cheaper, and the increase in chance of the TET success from the increased fail stacks that you're building could result in overall fewer enhancement attempts. So that was a bit of a mind tongue twister there. I hope you followed that. So, for example, if you're using cronstones, it may take you, I don't know, let's just say 10 attempts. Let's say 7 attempts, because I think that was the chances of success. So it could cost you 7 attempts, and that would cost you the 60 odd million that we discussed earlier. 67, no. Let's call it 60 million just for argument's sake. So that would cost you 60 million per attempt. So if it costs you 7 attempts, then 7 times 60 million. Okay? Doing it this way, because of the increased chance, you may, on average, be achieving this in, say, 5 attempts. So you would essentially be saving, say, like I don't know, 120 million or so. So it depends on RNG, essentially. And that's the problem with RNG, is you can't put an exact cost on the enhancement because you may be lucky or you may be unlucky. I'd recommend budgeting, though, for about 500 million to be able to purchase what you need. Or if you're farming memory fragments, then absolute minimum, I'd definitely budget for 3 costumes. Okay. So I hope this guide was useful. I hope it takes the sting out of the idea of enhancing to TET, because I remember there was one point where I was scared to death of enhancing to TET. I was happily sat there at try, because the idea of going to TET was just so overwhelming. I just thought, I'm not going to bother. But my guild pushed me to do it, and I did it. And the more that I've done it now, the more numb I've come to the feeling of loss. Like a TET attempt, a downgrade, it doesn't feel as bad. So, yeah, right now I have these same feelings about a pen attempt. I'm not even going to look at that for the time being until I've got my other gear enhanced, my accessories. But that is a video for another day, that's for sure. So, why don't we have a conversation about this in the comments and let me know your thoughts. I'd be interested to see whether you cron or not cron. I mean, do you do it like this, or do you do it a different way? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions in the comments. I would like to know. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because if you've watched to the end of this video, I'm sure I've earned it. Leave me a thumbs up, and I guess I will hopefully see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. You take care. Goodbye.